Good morning, everybody. You've been sitting there for a while, eh? So we're going to do 2 minutes of a What's Going Well cocktail party. And what you do is you do this. You go up to somebody, maybe you know, maybe you don't know. You say, "Hi, I'm Jim. What's going well?"
Well, my heart is breaking and celebrating back and forth, and I feel very alive. What's going well for you?
Well, I felt particularly touched by the Japanese video. I have so much affinity for the Japanese. I feel so connected. Then you go to somebody else and you say, "What's going well?" And you do the same game. So do that for about 3 minutes, then we'll try to get your attention back. 2 or 3 minutes, yeah? Go ahead. Now I need the bell. Just tune into your body right now. And notice what you notice. To move from connection, this root of all of these seeds of peace, to now self-connection, the even deeper root of these seeds of peace. To notice how you feel right now and to connect with what needs of yours were met by doing that exercise.
Togetherness.
Yeah, say it out loud. Togetherness. What other needs were met by the exercise?
Being heard.
Being heard.
To move.
To move.
To express ourselves.
To express ourselves and to be heard. What else? To get to know each other. Some connection, yeah.
To have a commonality with somebody.
Ah, to have a commonality with somebody. Beautiful. Thank you.
Can't spell up here.
So my name is Jim Manske, and this is my bride of only 36 years. We're still on our honeymoon. Feel really excited to be here and share a little bit about nonviolent communication with you. Nonviolent communication was created by Marshall Rosenberg, who just died this last February. And he spent the bulk of his life tirelessly traveling the planet, planting seeds of peace everywhere from Rwanda to Palestine to, he started his work in St. Louis, in the same area that we hear about now almost every night in the news in Ferguson. So we have a long way to go, but we're still planting these seeds of peace.
How many of you have heard of nonviolent communication before? Yeah.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. So this, for some of you, will be a deepening, some of you an introduction. And I'm so thrilled that you're here. So thrilled that you're here. We have a particular totem. I'd like to describe nonviolent communication using my little puppet here. Get it on my hand? Here.
Her name is Kuan Yin, by the way.
For those of you who know Kuan Yin. So the totem of nonviolent communication is the giraffe. And I watched a video of giraffes, and many things they do really represent what nonviolent communication stands for. For example, and what its intentions are. For example, giraffes are really tall. Yeah? They've got a lot of perspective. That gives us they have a lot of discernment. The basis of critical thinking, actually, is discernment and to have that kind of perspective. And since they're so tall, their heart needs to be very, very strong. They actually have the strongest heart of any land mammal. Yeah, because I mean, how do you get the blood up there otherwise, right? And isn't that what we're doing here? It's such a basis of what we do in nonviolent communication. It takes courage. Actually, the word courage is cur, from cur, the heart. So we're opening up our heart with great strength. That young boy who stood up for his friend in his class. God, what a strong heart of commitment that he had, and the courage to speak up. And that's what we do when we do this work. And then they're also physically strong. They have these huge hooves, and their legs are really strong. And they use their hooves to protect. So if a lion attacks a giraffe, a healthy giraffe will prevail. So this supports our commitment that if we're really healthy and we keep ourselves healthy, we can actually prevail because we have so much strength. In the wild, if a lion comes to a giraffe, he will actually kick it away. And guess what? He won't chase it. That's not his intention to hurt. He's not trying to inflict pain. He's trying to protect life. And that's part of what we do in nonviolent communication, and the work that you're doing is to serve life. Serve life. And so, is there another piece?
No, move on.
We have short time. So that may be enough for right now. And sometimes we get really hijacked, and we lose sight of our agility and our strength and our courage and the serving of life. We narrow down our awareness, and we have a jackal to represent that part of our natural humanness in terms of being hijacked, and also some of the ways we've been educated that don't actually serve life. Jackals are really low to the ground. They don't have that level of perspective. And they are often quite scared, and they're grasping for things. And they have a top dog and a bottom dog, and the top dog gets all the best stuff, you know, the strongest wins. And the others are down below. And even the strongest one, though, is scared because he knows eventually he's going to be overpowered. And so those are the kinds of things we do out of fear and ignorance. And with this work, we remember that the jackal has a heart, and that the jackal too is doing the best they know how to meet their needs, albeit tragically sometimes. And so that we as giraffes can find our empathy and look through the behavior to what is actually important. And to that end, we first have our first way of being in nonviolent communication is to have self-awareness as our basis. Self-awareness, self-care. We get our foundation first, so we use it first to get our foundation, and then the other two elements are empathy and then what we call honesty or authenticity, honesty from this vulnerable place. So those are the three modes, and we develop our discussion through this with our agile giraffe tongues that can find their way around the thorns of life.
Another thing that giraffes can do is they can stick their neck out, like that little boy did in that class. He was a pure giraffe. He's my new model for what it's like to be a giraffe. And I'll bet he did something similar to what happened for me the other day. I was sitting out on my porch having breakfast, my lanai, and I overheard a neighbor having what sounded like a really terrible dispute with her child. There was a lot of yelling going on. I couldn't actually make out the words, but I could hear a lot of stress, a lot of tension. It sounded like it might even get violent. So I did what I usually do in a situation like that. I put on my jackal ears, and I thought, I'm scared. I can't do anything about this. It's none of my business to actually do anything. And then I shifted to jackal ears out. Why is that mom being so mean to her daughter anyway? People should take better care of their kids. Something like that. Then suddenly I realized what I was doing. I got self-aware and I got connected to myself. And I thought, I'm scared. I'm really wanting to make sure everybody in my neighborhood's safe. But I'm not sure if there's anything, I'm not quite clear yet. I don't have the clarity of what I should do. So I think I'm going to wait. And I took some breaths, the conflict continued. And then I heard the little girl screaming at the top of her lungs, "Don't leave me! Don't leave me!" And she just freaked out. I couldn't stand it anymore. My empathy went to the little girl. She really sounds really scared. Sounds like she needs help and support. My request of myself was to go see what's going on. So I actually put on my courage, and I've always been really scared to intervene in parent-child stuff because you know. And so I did walk over there, and there was this little girl. She's so cute. She's standing in the middle of the road of the driveway with her little pink stroller. She's about 4 years old, and she's just screaming at her mom. Her mom is nowhere to be seen. So I didn't want to freak the little girl out, so I sat down about 10 feet away from her and just sat there, and she looked at me, and she got a little puzzled, and I said, "Sounds like you're really angry." She said, "Yeah." "Sounds like you're really scared that your mom's not here." "Yeah." And so I just start connecting with the little girl. Within about 30 seconds, she's laughing again with me. And we start to connect and say, "So what should we do about this?" We move into problem-solving mode. And so I said, should I walk you over and help you find your mom?" "No!" I said, so that doesn't really work for you. You want to have some choice about what we do next. And she says, "Yeah." And I said, "So what would you like to do?" She says, "I want you to follow me." I said, "Okay, so where should we go?" About that time, the mom shows up. And I immediately go, "Uh-oh, now I'm in trouble." But quickly I turned to empathy for her because she said to me, "I see you're here." And I said, "Yeah, so I'm guessing that she had a coconut in her hand." And I empathized with her. "I guess you were going to get some food for your daughter, and it sounds like you guys are having a rough morning." And so we just entered into a little bit of an empathic dialogue. So let's just look at that little scenario for just a second. What do you imagine the little girl's needs were in the moment when I first heard her freaking out? What was she needing? Safety. She wanted her mom. I'm guessing if she had her mom, she might feel safe and secure. "Don't leave me," she said. She wanted to have some power, some choice about how things were going to go. 4-year-olds love to have choice, just like 49-year-olds and 59-year-olds. And what about me? What were my needs? I'm sitting on my lanai having a peaceful breakfast, and I suddenly hear this conflict going on. What goes on in me in that moment? What's my need?
What do you guess?
You're not happy.
I'm not feeling happy. I'm feeling scared, maybe, concerned.
and that feeling is saying that there's something important here. What's really important to him?
Trying to figure out what to do.
I'm needing some clarity. I'm trying to figure out what the next step might be, or even if I should intervene. Is this something that is safe for me to intervene with? Because I have a need for respect for how families navigate their conflict, but I also have an overriding need to protect. Now I'm a giraffe with big hooves. If there's a lion in the neighborhood, I want to go and protect this little girl. So that's a need that's really up for me. Now mom comes back. She sees someone she's never seen before, a man, sitting next to her 4-year-old daughter. What might her needs be in that moment? She's got the same need as me. She wants to protect her kid. She's probably also needing clarity. What's going on here? Right? So now you get to see how this power of empathy and honesty can come into play because we all share the same needs. Whether we're 4, the little girl was probably 4 years old, the mom was probably about 30, I'm about 60, yet we all have the same needs. And so Mom and Jim enter into an empathic dialogue with each other. I give her a little acknowledgement of what it's like, what kind of a morning she's having. So we're starting to get connected, and the last thing that happens is that the little girl says, "I'm really, really hungry." So what's the little girl's needs? She needs food. No wonder she's grumpy. She hasn't had breakfast. It's 10:30 in the morning. So she's getting a little bit of outer resources. So she's needing support. And so her mom goes into action and starts to walk away to go get breakfast. And the little girl says, "Wait! Don't leave me." Oh, we're recycling right back to the beginning of the conflict. This time, though, Mom's got support. She got a little bit of empathy. So now she's more connected to herself and able to empathize with her daughter in a new way. And she says, "Oh, you're really hungry and you'd like to lead me?" She says, "Yes." And so she just held out her hand and let the little girl walk her towards where breakfast was.
So these are just a few of our universal needs. When you look at that, do you see anything that you can imagine you can exist with for the rest of your life and really thrive? Yeah. The key here is that they're universal, and this is one of the ways that we can build the bridges. Our diversity, actually, I think, is a need. And to have differences, to have that kind of stimulation. And when we allow the diversity to make us other, this helps us come back to how it is us. We are us. And then we can hold each other's hands like the mother and the daughter and walk through. And so there is a handout. There are two handouts in your packet at the back. One is a list of universal needs. It's a wheel, and it's blue, and it's just some examples. There is not the list. We just tried to compile a list that would be
on the
useful.
left side.
On the left side.
And then the other handout is that we've mostly talked about one of the components, the component that is at the heart of nonviolent communication. And you'll see that there are actually 4 components to nonviolent communication. One is the capacity to observe, to actually see past our evaluations to what's actually happening, to move past the right, wrong of it. Someone's not lying. I'm hearing somebody say something that isn't matching my understanding of what's actually happened. So that's an example of the difference between an observation and an evaluation. Then feelings. Feelings are our signals, like the lights on the dashboard, to point whether we're going to celebrate our needs, because are we celebrating needs? Something has been met? Or are we getting the information that we better watch something, something needs attention? And then these universal needs, and they answer the question, how are you? What's going on for you right now? What's going on for me? And then the third step is fourth part is answers the question, how can we make life more wonderful? And we call that requesting. I often say making a proposal and checking it out. And so I also want to acknowledge that we're here as part of the NVC, or Nonviolent Communication for the Next Generation, and how happy I am to see all of you here. And there's a sense that you're on our team now. And having met these wonderful people and being able to partner is just fantastic. So thank you all for what you're doing, and thank all of you.
20 minutes and 10 seconds. Yeah.